People's Democratic Party, New Nigeria's People Party, and African Democratic Congress have strongly rejected the proposed salary increase for political office holders. They describe the move as insensitive, tone-deaf, and ill-timed, arguing it shows a disturbing disconnect from Nigerians struggling with hunger, inflation, and an eroded 70,000 naira minimum wage. ADC spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi said the review was selfishness disguised as reform, noting that leaders already live in luxury while citizens battle hardship. NNPP chieftain Olufemi Ajadi added that true leadership requires sacrifice, stressing that in many countries facing crisis, politicians cut their pay instead of increasing it. PDP youth leader Timothy Osadolo called the proposal a betrayal of public trust, warning it could spark mass anger. The parties jointly urged federal government to shelve the plan and instead focus on raising the minimum wage, reducing governance costs, and easing economic hardship for ordinary Nigerians. Edenwo, what is your take on this proposal to increase wages of politicians across the country?
For me, I think it's insensitive and it's a betrayal, given the fact that Nigerians at this point are facing, or we are going through a lot. These people, they are already enjoying jumbo packages in terms of remuneration and all that. So giving them more at the expense of the populace, for me, it's something that shouldn't be thought of. At this point, what we should be doing as a government is to reduce running costs and overhead costs, and not to increase the salaries of those people who are already overpaid and doing nothing. So this is one of the constructive opposition I've ever seen in recent times from the PDP, ADC, and NNPP, because this borders on the welfare of Nigerians. Whether you like it or not, you cannot rob Peter to pay Paul, because this will amount to robbing Peter to pay Paul. These people, they're already well paid. They have businesses which they are doing. So I don't see any reason why you should also increase their salary at the expense of Nigerians going through hunger. The average Nigerian worker, how much is his minimum wage? 70, 80,000 in some states. Convert it to dollars, how much is it? That is not even a living wage. Talk less of a minimum wage. So for me, government should shelve that idea and see how they can reduce overhead and running costs.
The question would be like, how did they even arrive at this particular idea, and how did they think it was going to fly with Nigerians, especially at this point in time? Because now, you recall when there was crisis in the National Assembly, and Senator Ned Nwoko came out, and there were conversations around salaries of senators, salaries, take home of House National Assembly members, and also with respect to constituency projects and all of that. And Senator Ned Nwoko, in one of the viral interviews during that period, said that ranking senators go home with as much as hundreds of millions for constituency projects. That's what they receive. And that brings to mind exactly what constituency projects have we seen exactly if they are receiving hundreds of millions under the guise of constituency projects. And also salaries, accommodation allowances, furniture allowances, newspaper allowances, allowances for their aides, and I mean, every single thing about them is taken care of. I think Nigerian National Assembly members are among the highest paid in the world and the most taken care of in the world. And Nigerians, in comparison, are living in abject poverty. It's difficult at this point in time to even have 3 square meals a day. I just think Nigerians are, living a life of packaging. Fake it until you make it. Everybody is trying to package and all of that. And that is the reality, the sad reality of Nigerians. How many people are able to afford essential needs? And lawmakers at this point in time are thinking of pay rise. What was the fastest bill that was passed into law under this administration? Can you remember?
No, I can't.
Should I remind you?
Remind me.
National anthem.
And since that national anthem, let's tell ourselves the truth. Me sitting down here, I don't think I can recite that very national anthem because I don't see any reason, I don't see any sense in it. Sorry, I'm saying it on air, but that's the truth. Our problem is far beyond the national anthem. Secondly, also embarking on this is highly insensitive. Like he said, Nigerian lawmakers are among the most highly paid all over in the world.
Now, you know, let me just quote what RAFAC chairman Mohammed Shehu said when he was disclosing that President Bola Tinubu earns 1.5 million naira monthly, while ministers receive less than 1 million naira. He said, you are paying the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1.5 million naira a month with a population of over 200 million. Everybody believes that it is a joke. He added, you cannot pay a minister less than 1 million naira per month since 2008 and expect him to put in his best without necessarily being involved in some other things. You pay either a CBN governor or a DG 10 times more than you pay a president. That is not just right. Or you pay him the head of an agency 20 times higher than the Attorney General of the Federation. That is absolutely not right. Now, I am trying to understand, going by the statement of Mohammed Shehu, he has indicted the politicians because now they will have to explain to Nigerians where they got the money to live the lavish lifestyle that they have been living. Because, I mean, make it make sense to me. If a minister is earning less than 1 million, how come they live in posh places? They are able to afford buildings abroad. They are able to send their children abroad. I am saying that because I know what my expenses are in a month. And I know what the devaluation of Naira has cost. And I know what dollar volatility has cost to our income. So how come a minister is earning less than 1 million naira in a month and is able to afford the lavish and posh lifestyles that they live?
Now, like I said, Nigeria, it's one place that I really don't understand. Someone needs to come back and understand the workings of government and governance in Nigeria. Like you said, a minister earns less than 1 million naira, but you see the kind of lifestyle, very flamboyant lifestyle they live. Is it within that 1 million naira? So it's something that they really need to look at again. Block leakages, reduce running costs. There are other hidden money that they get which have not come out in the open to tell us.
Now, to a large extent, the commission is defending themselves and they are saying that the commission is not responsible for setting minimum wage for civil servants or public sector workers, but it's constitutionally mandated to determine the salaries of political, judicial, and legislative office holders. They were saying this in reaction to the position taken by NLC, you know, over this proposal that they hinted. Now, they are trying to justify why they have every right to propose for salary increment. Now, you're proposing salary increment for someone earning $1 million, over $1 million, basic salary. We have not talked about the allowances, the perks that are associated with that job, as against Nigerians whose taxes are funding the lifestyle of these people. Nigerians that are earning 70,000 naira minimum wage. I mean, the salary of a minimum wage earner is lower than a bag of rice. The salary cannot buy a bag of rice. The salary cannot buy a bag of crayfish in this country. I want it to make sense to me. And isn't this going to even demarcate the administration of President Bola Tinubu at this point in time, considering that he wants to contest in 2027? How is that going to play out for him in the coming days?
No, at least for me, Nigerians should look at it on its merit. But that aspect of salary increase for political office holder is something that shouldn't come to play at this point. And, but you know, the country itself is beyond salary of public office holders. If maybe the president has not performed well or is turning a blind eye to that area, doesn't mean that overall he has not performed well. So it's definitely not going to affect his fortune.
When you say it is definitely not going to affect his fortune, now one would say to a large extent, this RAMFAC is an arm of what government, please?
It's an arm of government, the federal government.
FG.
Yes.
So now, if one is reporting this story and said federal government plans to increase the wages of politicians or political office holders, how do you think Nigerians are going to receive it?
One thing is planning, one thing is implementing.
The question is the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
Yes.
Is a commission under the federal government. So if they have come out to say this, that's the federal government speaking at this point.
Let's wait.
Now, it's not about let's wait. And Nigerians, you are telling Nigerians who right now cannot afford basic... I saw a viral video where a man who was asthmatic,
yes,
was about losing his life because he could not afford
inhaler
to buy inhaler. Inhaler used to be 800 naira. 800 naira. And then inhaler suddenly became 1,600 overnight. And from there, 6,000 naira. I remember on my show one day, I said that we are getting to that dangerous precipice where Nigerians can no longer afford, particularly Nigerians with special health concerns, can no longer afford their lifeline.
Yes.
And it is happening.
It's correct.
And you are telling a man who cannot afford 16,000 naira inhaler that federal government is planning to increase the salaries of political office holders. And you say it will not affect the government. Now, why is the opposition calling this the government tone deaf? Why are they saying this is insensitive?
No, for me, as an individual, I think this is one idea of the federal government that I would not support.
So if you would not support it, considering the anger that a lot of persons are feeling already, and of all things to do at this point in time, it is increasing salaries, even though they are saying that it has not been increased since 2008. But then we are looking at Nigerians who are suffering heavily from certain decisions of the government. Yes, they said most of the economic policies, they are long-term. It is incubating. So we will have to wait for the incubation period for it to mature, and then Nigerians will start. But then one would expect that there are also short-term policies that can also give some, commensurate relief in the meantime to Nigerians. We are not seeing that, at least in my own life, I'm not seeing it playing out. And then
situation has increased or has improved considerably. I am now sure of between 12 to 14 hours light on a daily basis, except there's problem with the national grid.
Okay.
That I can tell you for free.
Now, where I live, there was a time we went for months, and I mean 3-4 months without light. And then suddenly we started having light and we were happy. So now the light, at least then we could boast of 8 hours light a day. Right now, I have not seen light for the past 3-4 days. Now, the thing is, even the food I have cooked and put in my freezer, I had to give them out. The fresh meat I bought, I had to give some out because, I mean, I can't finish them and they are going to spoil before time, okay, right? Now, apart from that, either I give out or I keep buying fuel every single day. And I had to stop doing that because there was a time I did it. That time we didn't have light for months. And one day I had to take a look at my expenditure in a month. And it was staggering. I was even shocked, like, how did I even get all this? And now, when I was now looking at why my expenditure was that high, I now found out that I spent a lot of money buying fuel because I had to generate power for myself. And I am in pain of that. And right now, you're looking at increments, even in light tariff, hike everywhere. And right now, what the government is coming up with at this point in time that the president is seeking re-election is to tell us they are going to increase. I want to understand the motive behind that. Now, let us even look at the justification for these increments. Tell us the ministers that we have and what they have done so far. I want to, let's just say, okay, there is need to increase their salaries. What have been their outputs?
For me,
let's start with Minister of Power,
see,
Adelabu. What is Adelabu's output that his salary needs to be increased?
I don't want to narrow it down on individual ministers.
No, we will have to look at all these things.
I will not want to be drawn into that. Why? Let's look at it from the holistic point of view.
All right, go ahead.
If we say look at it from each ministerial position, this program will drag. And
I am willing to drag the program at this point.
Let's not go there. So, as it stands, if your scorecard, you have probably 100, and you get up to 80–70%, I think you have passed that exam very well.
What variables are you using to judge them?
Well, first and foremost, the fuel subsidy removal. It has put money in the hands of federal, states and local government. At this point, states no longer cry to the federal government for bailouts. You see state governments now carrying out signature projects, carrying out projects that has never been done before in the history of this country.
The palliatives that were given to states for citizens, was it shared? Did the states, the citizens of the state, you really want us to go into all of that?
I am coming.
You want us to break down what has come in? Let me use River State for example. What came in the first quarter of 2023?
Let's go.
And what did the governor? No. We are having that conversation. What have they done with these monies?
They have done considerably well.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
All right. Very well. You need me to go and pull out my records on what came into River State.
It's okay, no problem.
All right. Very well. Continue while I pull it out.
Yes.
So you have to defend the over 500 million that came into River State coffers. What was done? I have not even brought up the 13% derivation fund.
See, in River
I've
State,
not brought that up.
In
fact, the Niger Delta states are more culpable because of the 13% derivation funds that have been going to them. That at some point I had to interview oil producing communities on my show, and none of them could say this was what we could see the federal government do for us, or the state government that was receiving these funds with the 30% derivation fund. Now, moving on to these ministers, I am trying to find justification as to why the salaries of public office holders have to be increased.
For me, I said it
what is the justification?
So, Lawrence, it is insensitive. It is morally wrong. It's not something. In fact, the federal government should drop that idea of increasing salaries of political office holders for now. That is my take, and I wouldn't want to talk more. Because if I'm not in support of the idea.
The interesting thing about, you're not in support of the idea. That is a declarative statement that you made. However, your body language says otherwise.
No.
Right?
No.
So I am picking from your body language for you to say that thing that's in your mind. Now, moving forward, I asked you, do you think that is even going to further demarcate the ambition of President Bola Tinubu? And you said no.
And I tell you that in an exam, if you have 10 questions that will give you 100%, and maybe you fail in 3 and you perform creditably well in 7, does it mean you have failed?
What variables did you arrive at that?
First, this is one government that had the political will on its own to remove subsidy on the first day of his administration. He removed, and you know what that has done to the various levels of government. I tell you, in the past, state governments
subsidy payments. Let me correct that impression in the first instance. Subsidy payments was paid to a certain time and was stopped. Now he already he already was aware that that payment was, ended at a certain month, and one would expect that there will be measures put in place. There will be consultations made, but that arbitrary declarative statement on the first ever speech you made to Nigerians was subsidy is gone. I remember that day I was driving home from work. I saw the frenzy. Filling stations started shutting down. I had to quickly buy a jerry can and rushed into a filling station. There and then, before me, the manager of the filling station came, first of all, shut down. They took their calculation of what they have sold and how many liters they've sold. Then shut it down and said they are not selling again. I just stayed in the queue. I didn't move. After 15 minutes in the queue, meanwhile, now there is crowd. After 15 minutes in the queue, he came back and doubled that amount before my very eyes. And guess what? I did not buy. So I stormed out. I left. Came back the next day to another filling station. It was twice the amount I saw the previous day. I still did not buy. I was like, okay, I still have fuel in my generator. I have fuel in my car. Before I knew what was happening, it was triple the original amount.
Let me tell you.
And I had no choice. But now to go and buy plenty jerry cans, to now.
Now let me tell you something.
And that's the reality we have.
You know my mantra in life?
What is your mantra?
Anything money cannot do, more money can do it. So the only thing I pray, God, give me more money to solve my problems.
I think that mantra, Nigerians might find it insensitive when you say that.
No, for me.
That is for you, and probably that will be the slogan of a lot of politicians.
That is the saddest reality.
We have to
that is the Nigeria we find ourselves today.
That's not the
economic
Nigeria we
situation.
find ourselves. The Nigeria we find ourselves is not the Nigeria of your mantra, that what anything money cannot do, more money can do it. The Nigeria we find ourselves right now is there is no money to even do anything. That's the Nigeria we find ourselves. Not just that there is no money. The money you even have in your hands is worth nothing.
No.
That is the Nigeria we find ourselves.
Let me tell you.
If you are making payments, even when Ministry of Power, the PhD and all of that are giving you your NEPA bill, I still call it NEPA, your power bill. You will, let's say for example, mine is prepaid, but for the postpaid customers, you will see something like 10,096 kobo. Till today, Nigerians still pay kobo, and I don't see kobo anywhere.
That's why you are expected to use alternative means of payment.
No, that's not my point. My point is that we have so devalued our money that our coins mean nothing except in writing.
And in electronic means of payment. But let me tell you, the way Nigeria is today, the only thing that will save people is additional strings of income. You can also sit down, make passive income within the comfort of your house without involving in crime. So that's the area I am looking at. As I said, anything money cannot do, more money can do it. And the only way you can survive in the Nigeria of today is to look for additional strings of income.
Now, additional strings of income, probably you speak from the angle of your comfort zone at the level you are. Let's look at people who earn minimum wage, who have school fees to pay.
They can also do business.
Hold on, please.
They can also do business in their workplace.
Who have rents to pay. Not every workplace encourages business.
Even if you don't do it in your workplace.
And who, of course,
you do from your phone.
With what data?
With what data? The one you're using.
Hold on. You think every Nigerian can afford data?
They have made data so that you can even buy 100 MB. And that 100
For
MB
how many
can
minutes?
last you, even if it's some minutes. You use it and do whatever you
want.
want.
What can you upload? For example, you have an online store and you need to upload what you need to sell, your items that you need to sell. With what data are you going to upload 100 megabytes according to you? Can we be a bit realistic about why I'm saying this is this? Nigerians, a lot of people watching us will watch us on borrowed data. A lot of people reacting will react on borrowed data.
Yes.
Just in case, for some reason, the government is so aloof that they don't seem to understand the plight of everyday Nigerians. I am an everyday Nigerian.
Same am I.
Apparently, you appear not to be.
I am an
But
everyday
I am
Nigerian.
an everyday Nigerian.
I am.
And I live among the lowest of the lowest of the lowest cadre of human beings on earth. And probably one day, I am going to do a short video of people living in that area and bring to the notice of government that there are actually people like that. And that's the sad reality. So probably you have not seen a situation where I live in an area where as I'm driving by and it rains, I see flood enter people's bacha. I see children comfortably sitting in flooded rooms because they have nowhere else to go. I see parents who work morning till night, till midnight, while their children stay home hungry, but they are unable to meet up the targets to even provide. We have real life poverty in this country.
Of course.
People are unable to eat. I live in an environment where people... Let me tell this story on national television. There was a season that I had to go outside to do coverage. And by the time I came back, 3 days, there was no light. And the already cooked meals I had in my house spoiled. So the raw meat spoiled. I also had freshly smoked catfish. I bought about 5 of them that I was smoked, but they were not very dry, so they were in the freezer. By the time I came back, they were slimy. So I packed all these things and threw them outside my gates for the people that will pick the dirt to come and pick them, because they usually come to pick them up. I came out a few minutes later to dispose the second batch.
You couldn't find?
No. I saw mothers opening the bag and sharing that fish. I saw mothers opening and sharing the rotten meat. I saw children sitting and eating. In fact, it appears that there is no day that I don't see at least 2 women, if I'm driving out or driving in, that will come and tell me they don't beg for money. They are begging for just 1 cup of rice. 1 cup of rice to feed 4 children. That is the reality.
No.
That is the Nigerian... Listen, that's the Nigerian reality. I see mothers who come and ask me, Ma, let us just sweep the compound, anything. They are not saying dash me money. Let me just sweep your compound. Let's just pick the grasses outside. Just give us anything. They are looking for a job. They are willing to work.
You know?
So when we are blessed to be at a certain level, even though we are not there yet, and we tend to be removed from the pain of the people around us, I have a voice. I have a platform.
Larisha.
I am going to call out the government for insensitivity where there is need to call them out. So coming to say, this should be done, that should be done, that should be done, this should be done. Ramfac saying, oh, there is need since 2008, 1 million. There are Nigerians who don't even earn up to 10,000 naira in a month. Nigerians are feeding from dustbin.
For me, Larisha, I condemn that idea by Ramfac to increase salaries of political office holders. That's my take. I condemn it in its entirety.
Well, one would say the government at this point should be smarter, because 2027 is coming, and if they stand any chance at all, they should not remind Nigerians of their pain. Don't poke people where they are bleeding. One would say that this particular move by federal government is simply, blatantly, calling Nigerians and telling them we really don't care much about what you're doing and the plight that you're going through.
I believe the president, in his wisdom, would not allow that to
I
happen.
think the presidency should come out and condemn this and debunk it.
They will not allow it to happen.
Hopefully.
I condemn it in its entirety.
Hopefully.
Yes.
You condemned it.
I condemned it.
PDP condemned it.
Yes.
ADC condemned it. NNPP condemned
Me, as an
it.
individual,
NLC condemned
as
it.
an individual,
You as an individual.
The pulse of Nigerians at this point, I also condemn it.
I really want you to speak like you actually feel the pulse.
Yes, I do.
Nigerians.
I do.
All right, very well.